Chimelu, my child, forgive me. I don't even know if I deserve to call you that anymore. When you came into this world, I should have held you close, but I let fear and shame blind me. I listened to their whispers. I let them call you a curse when you were my blessing. Now, our land is dying. Our people are crying for mercy. And I finally understand what the gods meant. You are never our curse. You are our light. Please, my daughter, forgive me. Not for the sake of the village, but for the mother who failed you.
In Omarada lived a man named Odo, wealthy in land, yams and goats. He was a man of great status, with 3 wives who lived under his roof. The first wife, Nkolika, was proud and sharp-tongued. She had given Odo 2 daughters and 1 son. Her daughters brought her wealth, titles, and respect among the elders. She never failed to remind the others of her great fortune. The second wife of Biageli was gentle but calculating. She had both 3 daughters and 2 sons. Each time a daughter was born, she walked with her head high, for she knew the value daughters carried in Omada. But the third wife, Adaeze, is the most beautiful and fairest of the wives. Being young, radiant and graceful, was the jewel of Odo's heart. She had given him 4 strong sons, but no daughter. She would smile charmingly, but deep within, she hurt. Odo loved her deeply, more than the others, and often said to her, "Do not let their words trouble you. You are enough for me, Adaeze. Sons or daughters, you remain my beloved." Yet Adaeze's heart was restless, for in Omada, a woman's pride was measured not by the number of sons she bore, but by whether she could give her husband daughters who brought wealth and honor to his household. The mocking whispers of Nkolika and Obiageli stung her like scorpions. What kind of woman bears sons alone? They bring no bright prize, no wealth. A true wife bears daughters like us. Though Odo promised her love, Adaeze longed for her own daughter, not to win her husband's affection, but to silence the scorn of her rivals and lift her head high among the women of Omada. And so, night after night, she wept in secret, until one evening, under the light of the full moon, she sneaked out with a mixed feeling of fear and hope. She carried her tears to the shrine of Nneka, the goddess of fertility. She knelt on the cold stones and cried, "Great Mother, bless me with a daughter. Even if she comes different, even if she comes with trials, give me a girl child, that I may know the joy of womanhood." Her voice cracked with desperation. She muttered and repeated her plea, her words tumbling out like a broken pottery. She vowed again and again that she would accept the child, no matter what she looked like, no matter how she came. But Adaeze spoke those words not with careful thought, but with the raw agony of a mother mocked and ridiculed. In her pain, she did not weigh the depth of her request. She only longed to silence her rivals and lift her head high. And the goddess, with a voice like rustling leaves, answered,
"A daughter you shall have, but remember, every gift comes with a burden."
For 9 long months, Adaeze's pregnancy had been unlike any she had known before. Her body felt unusually light. her steps graceful, and the sickness and fatigue that once marked her other pregnancies never came. The women of Umuada marveled at how she glowed, how her face shone with ease, and how she carried herself without struggle. Many whispered that surely, this time, the gods had answered her prayers with the daughter she so desperately desired. But when her time came, the ease of her days gave way to a storm. Her labor was fierce, more painful than any of her 4 sons before. Hours passed, her cries echoed through the compound, and the midwife worked tirelessly to ease her suffering. Finally, with one last piercing scream, the child was born. The room fell silent, the midwife's hands trembling, stared in disbelief. Never before had she seen a child like this on Umada. The baby's skin was pale, shining like the moonlight. Her hair was as white as the cotton flower, and her eyes, when they flickered open, gleamed grey like river stones. She was beautiful, extraordinary, yet looks like a bad omen. Adaeze, drenched in sweat, looked upon her daughter. At first, she thought the gods had answered her, but confusion clouded her heart. Her lips quivered. Instead of joy, sorrow rose in her chest. This was not the daughter she had imagined. This was something different. Outside, the whispers began even before the child's first cry reached the village square. An abomination, the first wife, Nkoriga, said. A curse, said another. The gods are angry, Obiageli, the second wife, thundered. Even her husband, upon hearing the news, turned away in shame. And Adaeze, though she held her child close, felt her heart sink deeper than she ever had before. Maybe the baby have severe jaundice, so she thought. She stayed under the sun for days, and yet nothing changed. Tormented by shame and confusion, Adaeze carried the fragile child back to the shrine of Nneka, the fertility goddess. With tears streaming, she cried out, "Great Mother, is this the child you promised me? Look at her. She is not like the others. Why would you mock me so?" The shrine was silent at first, the flames of the offering fire flickering in the night air. Then the goddess's voice rose like a song carried by the wind.
Adaeze, you asked for a daughter, and I have given you not just a child, but a star. Her light will outshine the darkness of your land. She is different because she is chosen. Do not despise the gift of the gods.
But Adaeze shook her head, bitterness choking her heart. A star? No, this is a curse. My co-wife laughs at me. My husband wouldn't even look at the baby. The village too scorns me. I asked for a jewel, not a burden. And in that moment, the goddess's voice grew faint, almost sorrowful.
If you reject her, you will reject your own salvation. What you cast away today will return one day as the hope of your people.
But Adaeze, blinded by shame, left the shrine with anger in her heart. She loved her daughter, yet she could not see beyond the whiteness of her skin. As CHIMELU grew, her difference became more and more pronounced. Her white skin, her grey eyes, her pale hair drew stares wherever she went. What should have been a blessing became a curse in the eyes of her people. From her father's household to the market square, whispers and insults followed her like shadows. The co-wives mocked her openly. Neighbors spat at the ground when she passed. Some called her Wanimo, a spirit child. Children too refused to play with her, not because they wanted it, but because their parents have warned them sternly not to. Others hissed, "An abomination, the gods punish us." Even the friends of her mother withdrew, refusing to associate with the woman who had birthed a child of the moon. Her father, Odo, once proud, could not lift his head when she walked by, and would murmur when she greets. Her mother, Adaeze, loved her quietly, but fear and shame sealed her lips. Just like her other children, she trained her to be hardworking and modest, but have never defended her before her mockers. There was no refuge for CHIMELU. At every turn, rejection stared her in the face. She learned to hide her tears, but the loneliness grew heavier each day. And so, one day, CHIMELU made a decision. One night, while the village slept, she slipped quietly into the darkness and ran far from her father's compound, far from the laughter of her half-siblings, far from the scorn of the village. Deeper and deeper she went, until the trees swallowed her, and the forest became her only companion. From that night onward, CHIMELU fended for herself. Her mother, her father, and neither family nor community made any attempt to look for her. It was as though she had never been born. But the forest did not reject her. The forest embraced her. Meanwhile, back in the village of Omada, things have greatly changed. Darkness fell. Crops withered, and the once proud daughters brought no dowries, for there was no wealth left to give. The elders prayed each to their gods. The men labored, the women wept, but nothing changed. The famine that swept through Mada was unlike anything the elders had seen. As the yam barns were empty, trees bears no fruit, the streams turned to trickles, and the once lively market lay silent. Children's bellies swelled from hunger, and even the strongest hunters staggered under the weight of thirst. The elders gathered at the Reverend Iroko tree, located at the middle of the village, pouring libations and slaughtering goats they barely have in the old way, pleading with the gods of the land to send rain, but the skies remained like brass. Desperate, they went to the shrine of Allah through the chief priest, offering kola nuts and palm wine, crying, "Why have you turned your face from us?" But the oracle was silent. No voice, no sign, only the hiss of the wind over dry grass. Frightened, the council of elders in Omada sent messengers to neighboring lands to bring seers and diviners of great repute. One by one, the seers arrived, men and women from faraway villages, draped in white chalk and cowries. They burned heads, cast cowrie shells, traced strange signs in the dust, and chanted incantations late into the night. They commanded the people to cleanse themselves, to sweep the roads, to fast, to sacrifice white fowls and black goats. They poured oil on sacred stones, hung charms at the edge of the forest, and planted new yam seeds in secret patterns, but nothing worked. The rains did not come, the earth remained cracked, the children's cries grew weaker. At last, the elders sat in silence, staring at the red earth beneath their feet. Since our gods were silent, and the seers powerless, then what else should we do? Or should we all wait to die and watch our generations perish before our very eyes? Elder Onochie said, amidst tears. One early morning, before the cock crows, the town crier went round the village, announcing of an urgent meeting to be held in the morning. Well, at this time, there is no cock or any other kind of fowl or livestock left in Umada. Hunger is the only thing that wakes them up. One by one, the elders gathered once more beneath the iroko tree. Faces gaunt, voices low, they admitted what no one wanted to say. Every effort has failed. The strangers' charms had done nothing. Their own sacrifices had gone unanswered. With no other hope left, they resolved to return to the gods of their own land, to plead again and see if this time the spirits of Omada would speak. That night, as famine tightened his grip and despair settled over Omada, the elders gathered at the shrine. The air was heavy with smoke and silence as the chief priest rose, his voice trembling with divine weight. The salvation of Umada lies not in our warriors, nor in our daughters of dowry, nor in the strength of our men, nor seers from foreign lands. The one we cast away, the child of the moon, she alone carries the key to our deliverance. Only the pale-skinned girl can heal this land. At first, there was silence. Then the whispers began. "What nonsense is this?" muttered a man. "How can an abomination save us?" spat one of the elders. "Do we even know if she is alive?" another man cried. "She left years ago. No one has seen her since." Others muttered angrily. "Why must it be her? Why not one of our daughters, blessed and honored? Must the fate of Umada rest on the shoulders of one we rejected?" The people were divided. Some hung their heads in shame, remembering the cruelty they had shown her. Others hardened their hearts, unwilling to believe that the salvation of their proud village could come from the one they had scorned. Yet, the prophecy stood firm, unshaken by doubt. The priest lifted his staff and declared, "Whether you accept it or not, the gods have spoken. If Umada is to rise again, it will be through the one you called cursed." After the prophecy was spoken, the elders and warriors of Umada gathered in fear and confusion. Elder Okoye shouted with the last strength left of him, "We had always wanted the gods to speak. Now they have spoken, and yet we reject what's been said. Do we then know better than the gods? Are we wiser, that we have to murmur and live in denial of this hope?" The gods had already given direction. Go beyond the rivers, past the hills, into the heart of the great forest. There you will find the one you cast away. So we should prioritize the rejection of one child over the thousands of lives perishing before us. If the gods accepted her, who are we to reject? Some moments later, the elders reached a conclusion: to save Umada, no matter what. The journey was not easy. For days, they trekked through thick undergrowth, their feet torn by thorns and their bodies beaten by rain. They crossed swollen rivers, climbed steep hills, and braved the cries of wild beasts that prowled in the night. Some grew weary and turned back, muttering, "This is folly. Why suffer for the sake of an outcast?" But some pressed on, for famine was already swallowing the land, and there was no other hope. At last, after many days, they came upon a clearing deep in the forest, and there she was, CHIMELU, not as a broken child they remembered, but radiant, crowned in leaves, her white hair glowing like silver in the sunlight, and her eyes deep with wisdom. They bowed, ashamed. They fell to their knees, crying out, "CHIMELU, daughter of Odo and Adaeze, Forgive us, they begged. Save us, the gods have spoken. Only you can deliver Umuada from this famine. But CHIMELU only stared at them with her grey eyes. She gave no smile, no embrace. You left me to die, she said quietly, then turned and stepped into the same hollow she had first crawled into as a terrified 10-year-old. It had become her shelter, her temple, her home. The villagers stayed. They dared not leave. They lit small fires in a circle outside the tree, and all through the night they sang soft broken songs of pleading. Their voices rose and fell like the wind through dry leaves. Inside the hollow, CHIMELU's skin illuminates as she laid coiled on her mat of leaves. Eyes closed, but sleep would not come. Then, like a breeze through the trunk, a voice filled the darkness. It was not human. CHIMELU, the voice whispered, daughter of destiny, this is the hour for which you were born. The land cannot be healed unless you go with them. You are the covenant of Umuada. However, in her dream, she had seen the faces of children, the cracked soil, the rivers dry as bone, and she knew. When dawn came, CHIMELU rose and stepped out of the tree's hollow. The villagers were still kneeling, still singing, their faces streaked with tears and ash. Her eyes were wet, but her face was set like stone. Her gaze was sharp, her voice steady. Forgive you? Do you remember the names you called me? Do you remember how you spat on the ground when I walked by? When I ran into this forest at 10, hungry, frightened, not one of you came looking for me. Even my own father turned his face away. The woman who bore me made no effort to find me. And now you come to me because you are desperate? Silence fell. Some wept openly. Others lowered their heads in shame. If it were left for me, she said softly, I would never return to Umuada. My heart has known too much pain, and my scars of rejection do not vanish with words. She looked towards the sky, as if listening to a voice greater than her own. But fate is not always what we desire. The gods have written that I was born for this, to be the savior of the very people who cast me away. If I do not return, the curse will never break. If I am to help Umuada, it will not be as the outcast child you once rejected. It will be on this term, that if I return, then never again shall a child of Umuada be thrown aside. She stepped backward, her voice rising like thunder. Hear me, the people of Umuada. As long as no child is rejected, as long as no son or daughter is cast away, the land shall know abundance. But the day you break this covenant, famine shall return, and the gods themselves will judge you. The chief priest raised his staff, his voice trembling. We swear it, before the gods and before the land we swear. The villagers wept and struck their chests, crying, we hear, we obey, never again. Only then did CHIMELU nod and walked with them back to the village. Not because of love, not because of longing, but because destiny demanded it. As she entered Umuada, the skies opened. Thunder shook the heavens. Rain poured, soaking the dry earth, filling the streams and blessing the soil. The curse was broken. And there was a great shout of joy across the land, for they knew the chosen one has lifted the curse. After the heavy downpour that lasted for hours, at least when the land was full with water, the entire village gathered to see CHIMELU, all eyes fixed on her. The girl they once mocked, The outcast they had forgotten was now standing in their midst as the one chosen to break the curse. Her mother was the first to step forward, still beautiful but darkened by grief and hunger. The same woman who once begged the goddess for a daughter, but rejected the gift when it came in a form she did not expect. Her legs trembled as she fell to her knees before CHIMELU, her voice breaking. CHIMELU, my child, forgive me. I asked for you, yet I denied you. I let the scorn of others poison my heart. I failed you when I should have been your shield. Do not let my foolishness deny this land of the salvation that you brought. The father, who had always been proud and distant, now bowed his head, his voice heavy with shame. Daughter, I too share the guilt. I thought only of the laughter of men, not the tears of my own blood. If forgiveness exists in your heart, let this land live through it. The crowd murmured. Some pitied the parents, others despised them for their hypocrisy. CHIMELU stood tall, her tan skin glowing under the sun. Her voice rang with calm authority. Today, I save Umada, not because you deserve it, but because this is a covenant sealed in my blood. She had fulfilled her fate, but the wound of rejection would forever remain. CHIMELU's eyes never softened towards her parents. From that day, CHIMELU's name was no longer spoken with mockery. It was spoken with reverence. The outcast became the savior. The rejected child became the covenant of Umada. The people learned that true wealth was not in the birth of daughters, nor in the rejection of sons, but in the unique gift each child carries.